You're listening to the Music Business Breakthrough Podcast with me, your host, Grammy-nominated artist and certified trauma-informed success coach, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. I founded In the Key of Success to help musicians like you fast-track the process of setting and achieving big goals. Whether you need to release some past baggage or break through the BS of the music industry, you're in the right place to level up how you release your music into the world. So let's go get your music business breakthrough and amplify your release. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. Let's talk about money. Money. More of the systems around finance than actually making money. We'll talk about that later. But I get this question a lot, is how do I organize myself as a musician, making money sometimes and also making money from non-musical things. So whether you have a full-time job or a part-time job or you're a freelancer or a teacher or you do other things, the best way to organize your money is to keep it separate. What do I mean by this? I mean to have a personal bank account and a business bank account. Whether or not you are a business, and we'll talk about LLCs in a second, you want to keep them separate. Now, here's why. First off, depending on where you live, if you live in the United States, you're going to eventually have to prove that you are a business and acting as a business in order to write off some of your costs for your music, whether that's an educational cost and you got a coach, or gear or travel costs for going to conferences or going on tour. You want to be able to write that off and get a tax benefit. It's much easier to show that it's not just a hobby when you do have separate bank accounts and separate credit cards. This also just makes it easier for your own accounting purposes. So I have a personal bank account that I pay myself from my music, and I do make 100% of my income from my own businesses, my own music. So I pay myself into that account. I am married at the time of recording this, and we have a joint account that covers our necessities, I like to call them. That's our food, our bills, rents, that sort of thing. Dog stuff, you know. So I pay myself from my business account into that joint account. My husband does the same from his business. So we know that our costs are covered every month. We have a joint account, and then I have a personal account, and then I have my bank account for my business. I also have personal savings and investment accounts, but those are separate and a way deeper dive than we're going to get into today. So as long as you've got a separate credit card and a separate bank account, you're going to be well on your way for staying organized, getting some great tax benefits as well as other business benefits. Now, I talked about having separate credit cards. Here's a reason. Points are paramount, especially for musicians, especially if you're traveling a lot. Even if you're not touring, but if you're just going to conferences and events, all that will add up a ton. And if you're spending all of it with a credit card and paying it off every month so you're not having to pay for interest, then you're going to be able to grow points. And we're going to talk in a second about how to really maximize points as a musician. So when you're spending your music-related business costs with one credit card, and then let's say you have, you see a great pair of shoes you want to purchase, you can purchase that with your personal card and keep them separate. So this is also a great thing. Just a side note, inside a relationship, having our own personal accounts means that we never have fights around personal things. I don't ever hear, oh, you got another pair of shoes. My husband's a mountain guide. He has like 4 times as many shoes than I do anyway. But that's never an issue because we are funding our own personal hobbies, interests, sometimes even travel, clothes from our personal accounts. The only thing that we spend money on together are joint things that we both benefit from or that we're both spending from. So having these 3 accounts plus savings and it may feel like a lot, but to be able to stay organized and to really feel independent, as well as in partnership with both your own business and if you are in a partnership where you're sharing some sort of level of finances, it is very empowering to have these things all separated out. So let's talk about LLCs. An LLC stands for a limited liability company. And this basically means that if you are someone who's touring and a fan trips on a wire at one of your shows, instead of suing you and taking everything that you possibly own because you are performing under this LLC, your liability is limited. So they can only sue what the limited liability company has. So that's why I first became an LLC. There are other benefits, and a lot of times there's confusion about copywriting and publishing companies and all this stuff. An LLC is really just designed to protect you. You get an EIN, a tax number if you're in the United States, and that allows you to get a business account and a business credit card officially. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't have the LLC, you can still have 2 separate checking accounts and 2 separate credit cards, just treating one as the business, one is not. And I did that for years before I became an official business. There are additional tax benefits and things you can look into. I am not a tax CPA person, so definitely talk to someone officially to see if becoming an LLC is a good idea for you. And now let's talk about travel points and credit cards. I can dork out on this stuff because I have gotten very good at hacking the points system. So you may know that some credit cards offer you 2 times points on travel or groceries or gas, and that's great. But I want to talk about getting 10x or 15x for your points. And there are very specific ways to do this. I have done a ton of dorking out on all of the different cards and systems and how to do this to really, really maximize the points that you get. Points on credit cards are essentially when you spend money, the credit card company gives you some points. You can redeem those points to pay the credit card back, which is usually a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 point equals usually 1 cent. And that is the least effective way to use your points. So I would advise against that. Other times, cards are trying to get you to use your points to book travel through them because they get whatever perks that the company gets. That's usually a little bit better ratio for the usage of your points, but the best way to use your points is to transfer your points to a travel site, like a hotel, like Hilton or Hyatt or whatever, or an airline. So that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And not all cards allow you to transfer your points to a travel partner. There are 2 that I know of at the moment, and you can go find out and get links to them at www.inthekey.co/cards. And there's a couple other resources around finances on that page as well. But there are 2 cards at the time of recording this, Chase and Amex, that allow you to transfer your points to travel partners. Now, here's why that's important. You often will get between 4 and 10 times the point value when those points move from your credit card to a travel partner. For example, on my credit card, 1,000 points is about $10. When I transfer that to one of the partners, travel partners like United, first of all, oftentimes they have these bonuses. So 1,000 points gets turned into 2,000 if it's a double point system. 2,000 points on United is way more than $10. Right? So let's get into real numbers. Sometimes it's only 10,000 points to book a whole flight or 20,000 points. So you want to look at what would the price of that be and then calculate, okay, if that was a $100 flight, it doesn't make sense to use 20,000 points. But if it was a $1,000 flight and you've got 20,000 points that are just sitting there, boom, you're saving money because you've transferred points from money you've already spent on your credit card over to this travel partner. So this is really, really easy to do. If you have a Chase card or an Amex card, not all of the Chase and not all of the Amex cards, it's only some of them. Talk about that on the page, the cards page. But you can go to redeem rewards and you've got to scroll down. They make it kind of hard for you to find and then say transfer points. And then it will open a new page and you can pick the travel partner that you want to transfer the points to. I don't transfer my points. I let them sit with the credit card until I know that I want to book a flight, let's say on United or Delta. And then I go to my cards and say, okay, which one has a partnership with the flight or the hotel that I want to book? And then I transfer my points over there and I'm able to book. And usually the transfer is immediate. They say it takes up to 24 hours. I'm experiencing that the transfer happens within a couple minutes. So that is the best bang for your buck. So you're not just getting 1 time or 2 times or even 3x. You're getting up to 5, 10, 15x the points that you get on your credit card. This is the smartest way to travel. This is the smartest way to utilize having a credit card as long as you're paying it off regularly and you're not accruing debt. That link one more time is www.inthekey.co/cards. I talk a lot more about finances and how I run my finances inside Amplify. So if you're interested in an awesome high-level mastermind for low cost, go to www.inthekey.co/amplify. All right, we'll see you in the next episode.